I want to talk about kiddos in this video. I am Dr. Kayla with Wholesome Chiropractic, and this is a topic that I did mention a little bit in my previous videos, and I could definitely talk for a little while about kiddos, but when I think about their nervous systems, it is so great when kids get adjusted. I always think about raising healthy kids can help us raise healthy adults or get to the point where we are those healthy adults. Otherwise, if kids are going through those different traumas and they're not able to get through those physical, emotional, chemical traumas, then it can lead into adulthood. And I've seen some kids who've had low back pain since they were 12, and it's just a part of their lives and they don't realize that it doesn't have to be like that. Or kiddos who've had migraines or headaches, right? Like just things that we deal with kids that I think sometimes, like if our parents don't know, and that's okay, right? Like it's no fault to them, but that's why I'm here to educate so we can try and bridge that gap, is that it's just something that's become their normal and it doesn't have to be. And I see kids who now are adults and then they're able to work through it, right? They've gotten the education or they've learned about chiropractic and they see how it could potentially help. And so I always like to be able to help bridge that gap, make sure that kids aren't having to deal with those pains and discomforts when they're so little, right? And then birth trauma, like I mentioned before, that's the first trauma that we go through as kids. A lot of twisting, turning on babies. There's about 70 pounds of pressure during the birthing process as well. And so just making sure that their bodies are able to function at their best when they're out of the womb, and just get them checked and making sure their nervous system is working well really makes a difference overall. So don't be afraid to get your kiddos checked. It's really cool because when we are adjusting kiddos, we're actually checking them as if you were checking the ripeness of a tomato. So that's very, very, very gentle. And so we're not popping and cracking them when you think about adults. And I think that's a misconception when it comes to chiropractic, is that we are doing that. And that is definitely not the case. We are very gentle with kiddos. Like I said, we are adjusting them as if we were checking the ripeness of a tomato, very gentle. We oftentimes use our pinky, especially in the neck area, because they are so little. And then you can use instruments on them too, to make it even more gentle. And so there's quite a bit with that. And it's so cool to see how chiropractic can help kids and just the difference it can make overall. I know this is already going to become a large video, and I'll have to do a couple videos from here, but just knowing that it can really make a difference as they're growing and going through those different milestones, and it can help them through those times of having those slips, trips, and falls when we're learning to walk and crawl and everything. I mean, when you're learning to do tummy time, that's helping your neck, right? That's helping put that structure of your neck in the structure of your curve into your neck. And then when you're crawling, that's actually putting in your low back or your lumbar curve to make sure that you have the proper curves. And so when I think about that, some kiddos, they may not necessarily ever crawl and they just go to walking, and that could potentially affect a few things. I mean, it could affect their curve. It could affect just how their nervous system is functioning. I've seen chiropractors recommend certain exercises, if you will, to kiddos who may have some balance issues, or there's just some disconnects that they're noticing. And they'll say like, hey, did you ever crawl? And they're like, no, I never did. And so they end up seeing family members, they're all getting on their knees and crawling around, because it is a part of what we need to grow up. And so I always just suggest, like, there's never a rush to have a kid walk, but to make sure that they do crawl as well, because there are a lot of benefits that are going to be there from a kid crawling. So, and then with that too, you may notice different crawling patterns with kiddos. That is something that I can go into in another video, but we should be able to just crisscross crawl normally, and I'll have to show you guys what that looks like. And if you see some abnormalities or just differences, that just knows that there's something out of alignment, right? Or their muscles are tight, and it could be a combination of the two, right? Or something else. But I know how much chiropractic can make a difference with those kiddos too. So if you have any questions at all, please let me know. Don't be afraid to reach out, and I'm excited to see you all in the office and get your kids checked. Thanks.